Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly.
Egypt, where sand whispers history. As the sages of old said so well, some places find you, not the other way around, and that's precisely how it felt the very first time I stepped into Egypt. Nowhere on my bucket list or in my dreams was seeing all the ancient wonders it held, but there I stood, under the shadow of the pyramids, connected with a place for which I couldn't explain the reasons. Then, of course, more than the history before me, it was how the pulse of the land seemed to weave the stories for its past with its present. A walk through the labyrinth streets of Cairo with the call to prayer filtering from a nearby mosque brought me to an intersection where fresh bread mingled with the smoke scent of the shisha. A street vendor handed me a cup of hibiscus tea, and with every sip he told me of his family roots tracing back generations. It is in moments like these that I realize Egypt is nothing short of a wonderful experience everyone must witness at least once in a lifetime. As I sailed down the Nile and watched the sun dip below the horizon, I couldn't help but be amazed at the ancient temples lining its banks. These magnificent wonders were a testament to the legacy of a civilization. It is here that this journey begins with the timeless wonders that define Egypt. Ancient wonders and historical sites. The temples of Egypt are more than stone, they are storytellers, whispering tales of gods, kings, and the devotion of an ancient people. As the Nile carried me closer to Luxor, the grandeur of the Karnak and the Luxor temples came into view. Difficult to describe is the awe of standing before columns that seemed to scrape the heavens. The hieroglyphs echoed meticulously, as if time itself dared not wipe them out. These weren't merely places of worship, they were symbols of power, cosmic order, and the never-ending quest by humanity to touch divinity. But it is not just the monuments in of themselves, it is the stories behind them, the thoughts of art seen chipping away in the torchlight, priests doing their ancient rite, or simply the indigenous plan to move the temples in order to save them from flooding a few decades ago. These temples speak to something timeless about Egypt. It reaches out and bridges the gap between history and today. Standing out there, I knew something deep inside. This wasn't about seeing wonders from the past. It transcended that. It was about feeling something, connecting to the heartbeat of a civilization that is still echoing today. The ancient wonders of Egypt don't ask for attention, they demand it. They remind one that some stories never really end, but simply wait for you to find them. As much as Egypt's history calls to the mind, its landscapes call to the spirit. The Nile might be the country's lifeblood, but venture beyond its banks and you'll find yourself in a world of contrast, each offering a unique kind of adventure. The Sahara, stretching endlessly into the horizon, feels like stepping into another planet. I'll never forget my first night camping under a starlight skies. The air was crisp, the silence profound, and the sand cool and soft, seemed to shift like waves frozen in time. Bedouin guides shared tales of their ancestors navigating these dunes, using the stars as their compass. Cultural traditions. As much as landscape may amaze the eyes in Egypt, culture captures the heart. Life has this undeniable rhythm to itself. Generations of traditions, music, and the flavor together formed a certain harmony. Every step I made seemed to bring forth alive and pulsing aspects rooted in history, yet presented in their own warm way. First and foremost, the food. One cannot experience Egypt without taking a taste of its soul. I still can remember my first kashari. Simple, filling, lentils, rice, pasta, and spicy tomato sauce topped with crispy onions. A sort of dish that feels like a warm hug. a tribute to all that creativity born from necessity can achieve. And then there are the artisans of Khan el Khalil, the most iconic markets of Cairo. It is a feast for the senses, the clanking of hammer into copper, the shimmer of gold jewelry, and detailed patterns of handmade carpets, all blended into one. I came across a silversmith who was able to put my name in Arabic into a wristband, a small thing but very personal. He told me that his craft has survived 5 generations, each adding something little to the family art. Cairo is a city that does not sleep, and it is a walk through the city streets right into the living mosaics of the past and present. The market in Khan el Khalil bustle with life as vendors hawk everything from spices to antiques. I haggled over brass lamp while having a very strong mint tea. Its smell combined with the smoke of grilled kebabs nearby. Of course, there is so much more to Cairo than its markets. The Egyptian Museum houses everything one might want to know about the country's glorious past, from scarabs to the gold mask of Tutankhamun. And then, of course, a few blocks away, it whisks you right back into the 21st century with its towering skyline and humming cafes. Alexandria, on the other hand, is a whiff of fresh air, a Mediterranean breeze that carries with it an essence of longing, reminders of the Greco-Roman origins. In the walk along the Korniki, I found fishermen casting their nets in the sea, while in the backdrop stands the biblical Alexandria, a man-made wonder of modern architecture in honor of the fabled library of old. Whether it be Cairo's chaos, Alexandria's serenity, or the submerged life of the Red Sea, in all aspects, Egypt's urban and coastal experience come back to the notion that this country is not just a relic of the past, but a thriving, multifaceted world. And that's the beauty of Egypt. It is not a place which can easily fit into a single narrative. It's old and new, chaotic and placid, known and unknown. Whether marveling at the architectural genius of the pyramids or losing oneself in energetic street life, Egypt enters into your skin attention, begged and curiosity rewarded. What really struck me most wasn't the monumental size or the beauty in its landscape. It was the simple people, from the Nubian boatman telling tales of his family to the marketplace vendors teaching the art of dealing with a wink and a laugh, how the personal warmth and hospitality of Egypt have been invested into the soul of that land in many ways. Every experience here feels layered. The temples are not just sites, they are gateways to the past. The food is not just for nourishment, it is a celebration of heritage. The sites are not just places of destination, they are living, breathing reflections of a culture that refuses to stand still. Egypt is a story you don't just hear or see, but live. This is a place that leaves its mark, filling the heart with awe and the mind with wonder. And as you leave, you realize that no matter how much you've experienced, there is always more that awaits you. Egypt is not just a destination, but a connection, a bridge between past, present, and future. And to anyone willing to probe its depths, it promises something quite unforgettable, a journey that will always stay with you long after you have left its golden sands and timeless shores.